Hi, Linda Bowen here from StampingWithLinda.com, your cardiologist since 1997, helping you create cards from the heart. Today is Tuesday and Fancy Fold, and last week I featured the favored flower designer series paper with my Fancy Fold, and I'm going to do the same today. Now this paper is free with a $50 order while supplies last or until the end of February. I am surprised this paper is still available because it is just so beautiful. The other item I'm going to be using today is Sending Support. This is another celebration item that you can get with a $50 order, and those are the verses that I'm going to use today. And it's Sending Support. It's got some really nice words for people that are going through difficult times. So let's get started. I have taken my piece of designer series paper and I've cut it down to 5.5. So this measures 5.5 by 12. And what I'm going to do is I am going to score it at the 4 inches. Technically, I'm going to score it at the 4 and 8, but I am just with my trimmer going to score it at the 4. Because if I am off a hair, then it's not going to matter with the way I'm going to show you how to score the 8-inch side. So I'm just going to take this side of the paper and I'm going to fold it into the inside, like so, making sure that it's nice and even. Gonna grab my fold folder and make a nice crisp fold. So I've got this for my fold, and let me show you what else I have. I have taken my scallop contours. This is in petal pink. I cut 2 petal pinks, 2 calypso coral, and then I have several of the flowers that I cut out. Now this designer series paper does match a bundle, but you don't need the bundle. This paper is just beautiful on its own. So we've got that, and then I've got a 4.25 by 5.5 inch piece of the calypso coral. So let's get started. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take one of those petal pink scallops that I have already die cut with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm going to take a Calypso Coral ink pad, and I'm using a photopolymer set. This is called Watercolor Shapes. Now normally with a photopolymer I use a matte. I'm not going to this time because if it's not exactly inked or that I don't get it to transfer well, it's not going to matter because I've got that watercolor look to it. So it did stamp pretty good. Did get it right in the middle, but that's not going to matter. I'm going to be able to camouflage that. Next, what I'm going to do is take my Memento ink pad and use the stamp, excuse me, from the Sending Support. And this word says, courage is being really scared and doing it anyways. And so many times that's what people are going through. They're going through an issue, and even though they're scared, they've got to travel through that valley. So we've got that stamped. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm using my time-worn type 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to run that stamped image through my embossing folder. I've been trying to do some different things with my embossing folder. Normally I just use the embossing folder for the background of my card, but I am finding that there's so many other ways we can use our embossing folders to change the look of our cards. So running that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Of course, this is a 3D folder, so I only needed the bigger, thicker pad and my platform. But see how fun that, I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but it just gives texture to my layer that I'm going to use. So let's get this put away. We are going to grab one of those Calypso Coral and we're going to mount that on there. I'm going to get my small dimensionals and add them to my label so that it kind of pops up. And like I said, then we're going to mount it onto that Calypso coral that I have already die cut. Again, with the scallop contour dies. Love these dies for layering. My background papers off my dimensionals and put that right in the middle. And then that is going to go, ooh, I see I put my ink pad on my counter there. That's not good. Gonna grab my Stampin' Seal Plus. That is gonna go on to the front of my card like so. Gonna get that quarter sheet of Calypso Coral cardstock. Because this card Fancy Fold is done with designer series paper, I like to layer it onto a piece of cardstock because then it just makes it stiffer and easier to open. We've got that. Next, I am going to grab some of the cutouts I did from that designer series paper. I've got the double flowers. I'm gonna kind of burnish around that paper to give those flowers some life. Grab some large dimensionals. And put that on the front of my card. Again, this card is done all with designer series paper as far as the flowers and the decor. So we've got that. To add some shine to those flowers, I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella, go right over that designer series paper, and the Wink of Stella is going to bring a glossy effect to those flowers, make them pop up a little bit more. Looks like maybe my Wink of Stella is getting a little on the thin side. Very common, use a lot of Wink of Stella. We've got that. Now we're ready to go to the inside. So we're seeing both sides of the paper. I have already taken the words from the sending support. I used the stylish shape circle and the layering circles. Use that watercolor shapes, again, stamped in Calypso Coral, and then with my Memento pad, and it says my shoulder is always yours. And we're just going to put that to the inside of our card like so. But then what I have done is I have cut on the designer series paper, the edge of the designer series paper, there's just partial flowers, and these partial flowers are just perfect to add. Let's see, let's pull this up a little bit. Go ahead and put these on. I'm going to put this over here. And then I have another one that we will put to the bottom. This way you use all those flowers that are on that designer series paper. Remember, this paper is free, but only while supplies last. I would not wait too long for that. Instead of using the Stampin' Seal Plus, I'm going to grab a dimensional so that that just kind of pops up. It says, my shoulder is always yours. So we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get some more Wink of Stella out of this. Yeah, it's given some shine there to the flowers. Not as much as I'd like. Again, I think I need to order another Wink of Stella on my next order. So we're going to open this up. Again, we've got another Calypso Coral and Petal Pink that's been cut out with those scallop contour dies. We're just going to put that in the inside of our card like so that we can write a little message. I've got another flower that I have cut out from that designer series paper so that it'll match. Gonna grab a dimensional and just put that at the top. And there you have it, a fun fancy fold, just using the Favored Flower designer series paper. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.